May profits be upon you. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. You're trading with RT Money, representing Lions Den FX. We're going to take a look at Euro USD. If you haven't already checked out my weekly outlook video, which was the one made prior to this one, please check that out first. All right, it gives you a basic overview of what I'm looking at as far as from a futures perspective on each individual currency, and I rate the strength of them versus the weaker ones. All right, and it's a good look, good information to have going into this week. Please check it out. I'll leave it on your screen at the end of this video. What we're going to take a look at is Euro USD, and we're going to check out the RT money meter first. I just made it disappear, and okay. The RT money meter tracks the rate of change of each individual currency over a 15-week period. All right, last week, the euro was ranked number 6. This week, it is ranked again number 6. But what you can see is the difference in strength. It's minus 541 last week. This week, it's minus 6.62. It's trending in the wrong direction. It's getting weaker. Look at the US dollar. Opposite story. Last week, 6.39. This week, 7.65. Very strong, has been strong, the strongest for weeks. So pitting the strong against the weak, this is a good one to look at, and this is one of my favorite pairs going into the week. All right. Now, I want you to bear something in mind. Wednesday, we have FOMC. FOMC, very importante, right? And what we're looking at is the Fed decision, the Fed interest rate decision. We're looking for 1.5. That is the consensus view, the expectation, all right, which is very hawkish, and which would mean strength going into the US dollar to further bolster it to the upside as that rate hike, as the Fed is trying to stave off further increases in the inflation rate. All right, and we had some bad numbers last week for CPI, where we saw it go from 8.3 to 8.6, and we were thinking that we were seeing the peak of inflation, and that turned out that wasn't true. It went a little bit higher, so the Fed is now going to take stronger measures to kind of get that inflation thing under control. So let's take a look at the Euro USD, right? Let's go to the monthly. All right, if we can go to the monthly. All right, that's 3 month. I don't need that. All right. I'm having a little trouble here. Okay, so on the monthly, what we can see is that price has traded down. Very big impulse, a correction. This was a higher low, right? What is remarkable about that is that we would think this would be, lower low, lower high. We would think this would be, because it didn't make a lower low, that it might make a lower high, but it only becomes a lower high if it breaks this high. It didn't. It failed to do so. All right. So what does that mean? This becomes a target for liquidity because it's a weak low. And what did price do? Higher low, higher high, higher low. Failed to make a higher high here and breaks down, taking out this structure here. After a break of structure, where you expect a return to impulse. That never happened. Look at all this momentum down to the downside, and we broke that low. So that is something that is remarkable. We have to remark about it. All right, so I'm having a little trouble here. Okay, so this thing just don't want to do right. All right, so what I want you to note now is that we are in this. I thought that was a writing utensil. We are in this zone of demand, all right? And we are in the nitty gritty of this zone of demand, the extreme of this monthly zone of demand. I expect to see some kind of reaction here, right? Well, we penetrated deeply to the nitty gritty. We're almost piercing through this zone of demand, all right? And we created a very large wick. And last month, at the beginning of this month, so far, we are heading towards filling that wick. If we fill the wick, that means we're going to continue bearishly. I'm expecting price to continue lower. Now, this is the weekly, all right? I love to see this kind of price action where you see an impulse, you see a correction, you see another impulse, you see a correction, you see an impulse, you see a correction. I'm looking at this as the lower high to make that lower low. My next expectational structure point is a lower low. I think that's reasonable to expect, right? That would mean we will probably break through this weak demand zone, all right? There's a weekly and a monthly demand zone, and we almost took it out right here, all right? So with this deep penetration, I'm expecting price to continue and finish the job, all right? Look how bearish that candle is, all right? That is a weekly close below these candles here. Weekly, all right? That is a strong indication that price is going to continue down. Down goes Frazier. All right, so we're down on the daily. You can see the price action here. Made a low, made a high. All right, this is as low as it got. It did qualify as a lower low, but we had this sweep of the highs here. All right, not all of the highs though, but a sweep of highs and then a push to the downside, taking out that low. That makes a valid zone of supply. All right. We see that we made a low here, another high, break, and then we break up to the upside. So at this point, as soon as it breaks here, I'm starting to think I need to be looking for bullish setups. Okay. However, you see the price action over here. Price started to mitigated this zone, mitigated that weekly supply, and it's also a daily supply. Mitigated it, failed to go higher, broke structure to the downside. All right, this is substructure, but it's still structure. All right, and it does give an indication of where price is going. All right, with this bearish candle, that's a lot of momentum to the downside. So I am looking for further downside action. Yeah, technically you could say, hey, we broke structure to the upside here. All right, we should be heading bullish. After this, I'm bearish on this. All right, you can see it however you want to see it. All right, I am bearish and I'm looking for bearish setups. All right, this looks like a lower high to me. All right, same with this lower high. These are small moves, lower low, lower high. You don't have to count them. You can count this as one leg of structure if you'd like. All right, do you count this as a pullback? You can count this whole thing as a leg of structure, but this is a pullback. And this had a couple of failed attempts to go higher. This is where I would look for that lower high. I'm looking for the lower low. So I'm looking for that to be broken. Simple structural, a simple structure in my view, okay? If you go to the 4 hour, that's where we make our money, all right? You see the structure here. This was a nice consolidation with a sweep to the upside and then a sweep to the downside. All right, this is the way you want to see it, so you can get a good idea of the bias. And we can see that we broke a demand zone here. All right, violated it. All right, so what am I looking for now? I'm looking for a pullback. Oh, come on, man. I'm looking for a pullback. It might continue down, but I am looking for a pullback. It might pull down to here. It might pull down to here, and then we see that pullback up until Wednesday, the FOMC. All right. And that's when we'll see the dollar get strong and drag this thing down. So I'm looking for any sign of a pullback. I'm not taking that long. I'm not doing it. All right. You can do it if you'd like. All right. But I'm looking for the higher probability trade, which will be a short from here. All right. If you're going to take along a counter, it'll be counter trend. So it's lower probability. That doesn't mean it's not doable. All right, but I would suggest scalping it up until Wednesday, and then we can see that drop and take a proper trade to the downside. Okay, that is my prescription. I, as your doctor, take 2 of these and see me at the bank for my cut, and you can deposit your profits. Okay, all right, now. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the like button for me. Just smack it upside the head real quick. All right. Make sure you subscribe and do hit the bell notification so that you can catch all of my updates. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're going to wait for a sell setup, or are you going to be looking for buys to take that sell, the buy to sell model that I always talk about in Lions Den FX. I love to take a buy to sell. All right. But this might be short term and it could turn on a dime, especially around Wednesday. So I'm going to, you might see some sideways price action, but any drifting up, take that short. All right. Now I'm leaving the previous video, the one that's giving an outlook for the week ahead. All right. Looking at the end of all of the individual currency futures. And that'll give you a better grasp of bias and who's strong and who's weak and where to place your trades for the week ahead. I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.